Thank you for joining the Live in Divine Harmony podcast. I'm Carmen, your divine synergist of Heart's Joy. I'm an awakened person of purpose, a spiritual life coach. I have a passion for life. I'm an author, a podcast host, and a numerologist. And on this week's podcast episode, you're going to learn Numerology 101. I always get a lot of questions. What is numerology? What does it entail? Is it a part of the Bible? You name it, I get those questions. What does 33 mean? What does 11 mean? Why do I keep seeing those numbers? So, in this week's episode, I want to hone in and share with you what is numerology and then the general meanings of the numbers. So, thank you for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe, and share as well. Always hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another episode. Now, this episode was actually spurred by a question from a listener who asked, what does 33 mean? And I thought that's a great question. So, first off, let's talk about what is numerology. Well, it's the study of numbers, and it's been around for a really long time, for centuries. There's also other different types of study of numbers, and they all work similar because what happens is we look at the energy allotted to that number. Now, in numerology, I'm going to focus solely on numerology in this episode. I can take your date of birth and I look at the energy allotted to each number, and it'll tell you your life path. It'll also give us your personal year, and it will also give us any lessons that your soul chose to learn in this lifetime. Now, we also in numerology can look at your birth name. So whatever name you were given at birth that you knew for the first, let's say 0 to 3 years of your life, that's the energy of the name that we're going to look at. Again, when I look at each letter is associated with a number. And again, that number is associated with an energy. And so when we look at that, we can see all sorts of things about who you are and about the lessons that your soul chose to learn in this lifetime. And this is going to be a really general overall of just the meaning of each number, because depending on where it is in your chart, what I call your soul's contract, depends on the meaning of the number. Great example. If you see a 1 in a life path number, that's going to change the meaning a little bit versus when you're in that energy, whether it's your monthly energy or your personal year energy. Now, you may be wondering, what does personal year mean? Your personal year goes from birthday to birthday. And so a lot of times people will have their main chart done, their overall chart, which will never change. And to do that, I look at your date of birth and your full birth name given at birth. And like your life path never changes, right? The reason why I incorporated numerology with this is because it's about purpose. And that number shows me what it is that you should be doing for a living, right? So and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because your purpose is so much bigger than your vehicle, your job. It's that energy path that you want to stay along throughout your lifetime. So you can also think of this as a roadmap for your life as well. I like to look at personal years and then the energies for each month, which is what we do in the journal, the daily journal, so that you can again harness and work with those energies. So I know that if I launch something in a 9 energy, I know what that means. And then I know how to work with it. If I launch it in an 8 energy or a 3 energy, I know what that means. Especially for entrepreneurs, this is so important. Between looking at your numerology, looking at your business numerology, looking at, can't even think of the word. I totally lost it. Did you see it was going that way? Looking at the astrology as well, because you hear me talk a lot about working with the energies and harnessing the energies, and that's what this is. So let's go ahead and start to talk about the numbers themselves. And I'm a visual person. So for the first 4 numbers, I'm going to use a visual with you to help. It's also on the website, hearts-joy.com, under numerology. You can see it as well. So the 1 energy means new beginnings. And by the way, as I share this, if you're familiar with angel numbers, you'll see that there is some similarities and yet there's differences as well. So I want you to keep that in mind. So when we're in a one energy, things will continue and last. Think of it as planting seeds into the ground. You're literally just planting seeds that entire time. Again, it's a great time to start anything new. So think of it too, it's a very masculine energy. I always say it's like the fire Aries of the zodiac energy. And so again, depending on where it is in your chart is going to change that meaning a little bit. Okay. The two energy, you have 1 + 1 now is 2. And that is a very nurturing energy. It's literally the opposite of the masculine, it's the divine feminine energy. So when you think of that in terms of what you just did where you planted the seed in the one energy, now with the two energy, you're nurturing it. You're talking nice to the plant. You're saying, oh, you look so beautiful, and I'm going to give you some water now and some nutrients to help you grow and bloom. So it truly is that divine feminine energy. Um, if- 3 energy is expression. Think of your throat chakra. It's how are you expressing yourself? And it doesn't necessarily have to be your throat. It can be. It's a very creative energy. It's also a divine number. 7 is as well. And so in that 3 energy now, you're going to start to see everything that you planted and that you nurtured is now coming up to bloom. By the way, anytime I talk about creative, people automatically think when they hear creative, oh, I'm not creative. Number 1 is what they say back. Or they'll say, oh, well, that's a dancer or a painter or an artist or anything of that nature. You are creative. You have the creativeness that you can tap into in your solar plexus at any time. Actually, it's your sacral chakra at any time. Okay. We all have this energy. It's a matter of, are you tapping into that power of that energy? And some people, when that is their life path, they are that true creative. Or when they have 3s and their birthday. So if their birthday is like March 13th, they have 2 3s in their birthday. That tells me they're a very creative individual. The 4 energy, now that you've planted the seed and you've nurtured it and you've watered it, and it was that way of being around it, it started to bloom in the 3 energy. And now in the 4 energy, after it's bloomed, it now is growing roots. So think of 4 as 4 legs on a chair, and it's a foundational energy. So if for some reason on your foundation, so again, think of the root chakra, you have a leg that's maybe cut short a little bit or it wobbles from time to time, ask yourself what's off? What gets to change and be different? That's also safety and security, and it could also be law and order as well. The 5 energy is change and travel. It can also feel chaotic. So if you tuned into the May numerology and energy update, I talk about how this month is going to feel chaotic, and there's lots of reasons for that. I didn't mention travel. It's definitely change, but it's definitely chaotic change because of the other energies that are culminating out there when you look at the astrology. So, and if you remember back to 2021, yeah, that was a 5 energy year. And so it was a lot of people wanted to get out of the house. They wanted to travel. It's that energy. It's a very quick moving energy as well. So sometimes people who have a lot of 5s in their name or who are missing a 5, it could be that they have a hard time finishing things because they're so scattered and they're all over the place, or they have too many irons in the fire. The 6 energy is all about home, family, relationships, and trust. Sometimes too, when you look at the numbers, that also can indicate. So for me, because of how the 6 kind of curves over, right? I almost think of like a baby in the womb, and there's trust there. And it's that home and family energy. It's that vibrational energy. Now, in a 7 energy, which is what we are in this year, it's a very loner energy. You're inward, you're thinking, you're overthinking, you're in your head, and you it's almost like you feel like you're being rejected and you're really not. You're just truly overthinking everything. And by the way, there's lessons with every single number. And that is there's lessons with every single number. And again, it depends on how it shows up in your chart for you. This is why I said for 2023, it's really good to know, and it's helpful for you to know if you're missing any 7s in your birthday or your full birth name. So in your numerology chart, so that you know when you're in a 777 hookup, meaning what months that you're going to be in that 7 energy. Because if you have that 7 energy multiple times together at one time, you could feel very depressed, which could cause suicide. So the 8 energy is abundance and money, and it's a powerful energy. When you put the 8 on its side, it looks like the infinity symbol. It's harmony, right? So a lot of people are asking for balance these days. And I say balance really doesn't exist, or at least hasn't existed for any other human besides Jesus that I know of. And so it's finding that ebb and flow back and forth, that yin and yang energy. 9 is a completion. Now, I've heard a lot of people say 0's completion. We don't recognize zeros in numerology. So to us, 9 is the completion, it's the end. And by the way, I'm going to say there is no right or wrong, good or bad. Just understand each number, okay? The energy of each number. Now, on the 9 energy, if you do choose to start anything in a 9 energy, which you totally can. I'm in a 9 energy right now, personal month. Whatever you choose to start in that 9 energy is going to do one of 2 things. It's either going to not last and it's just going to fall away, or it's going to change and get way better than what you thought of. I actually launched the daily journal in a 9 energy year, and I knew that, and I just wanted to get it out to the masses because I was using it and having great success, and I just wanted other people to experience that as well. And let me tell you, it did not look this gorgeous when I first launched it, and I just updated it as well. So it's not a bad thing. A lot of times when I let people know that, they freak out and, oh my gosh, I can't do anything in a 9 energy. You absolutely can. It's simply having the awareness of what these energies are to truly work and harness with them. Now let's talk about master numbers. So we have a few master numbers, and master numbers are when you have the same digit twice. And what happens with that master number is it simply magnifies that number, that first number already. So example, master number 11 is just going to magnify the energy of that 1 twice. Now, I normally look at master numbers specifically for life paths. I mean, I look at them for everything else too, but normally I'm really focused in on and honed in on the life path. So if you are a master number 11, then you are a master visionary. Now, how do we get to the numbers, by the way? We add up all the different numbers and we get it down to one single digit. But when we add them up, if it adds up to an 11, then your life path is both an 11 and a 2, because 1 + 1 is 2. So just know that a master number 11 is a visionary. You are a visionary. You are what I call able to see that big, broad picture, long range. And that's for me, that's a gift. And really, you're living from your third eye. Master number 22 is a builder. These are people who love to build, and it doesn't have to necessarily be like building with Legos or building anything concrete. It could be that you're building teams, that you're great at building teams, that you're great at bringing people together, that you're great at building systems. So I want you to think and look at this from a broader standpoint. The master number 33 is a master teacher. So again, you're a 33 and a 6 energy. So 3 plus 3 is 6. And people come to you because you are that master teacher. They want to learn from you, whatever it is. And when I say teacher, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be in a classroom. There are plenty of teachers everywhere. So again, start to think broader when it comes to teaching, when it comes to any of this. Now, something else I want to share with you when it comes to numerology is that every number also has an allotment. Think of it as a gas tank. So, great example, 8. I shared with you how 8 was power and money and it's leadership. Okay. So, it's a great time, by the way, when you're in an 8 personal year, it's a wonderful time typically to focus on your business. So, there's an allotment to that 8. Think of the gas gauge. I either have a lot of money or I have no money. How can you find that in between? And again, this allotment, energy allotment, is for all of these numbers. You can also think of it as frequencies, right? So you have a lot of money at a higher frequency versus a lower frequency. Maybe it's I'm living paycheck to paycheck. So I could be here for hours talking about numerology. As you can tell, it's one of my favorites. I would love to hear from you. What questions do you have? Also know that I do offer private numerology sessions where you can book. I ask that when you book, just book it 1 to 2 weeks out when we actually do your Zoom, because I'm going to gather the data from you in order to do a write-up report that I will email you 24 hours before we meet via Zoom. And so it does take some time to gather all the data and the information to get your report to you. I will share with you on a personal note that when I first found out my numerology report and I got it from my teacher, I was angry for a week. And it took me a week to really truly accept that these were my lessons that I chose, my soul chose to learn in this lifetime. And you will always hear me call them lessons and not challenges. Most numerologists call them challenges. They are the missing numbers in both your name and your birthday. There's also a karmic debt as well. And so to me, a challenge is a win-lose. And I want you to focus on a win-win, because you can learn the lesson and it doesn't always have to be a lesson for you. It may still come up for you, and you know now that you're going to do something different. So keep that in mind too. So feel free to reach out. You can go to the website, hearts-joy.com, go to contact, send me an email if you're interested in those reports. And yeah, let me know what else you would like to learn, if anything, about numerology. And as always, I look forward to sharing space with you soon. Sending you much love.